Welcome to Hope Family Wines. We miss you so much and we wish you were here with us. So what we've done is we've created a virtual tasting for you. Hopefully you'll be back in our taste room here soon, but for now, this is how we're going to stay in touch with you. So I'm going to run you through the Austin Hope and Triana tasting flight as if you were right here in front of me. So welcome, first of all, to Hope Family Wines. Austin Hope is our winemaker and proprietor, and he heads up all 5 of our different labels. And today we're going to taste through some of our Triana wines as well as the Austin Hope label wines. And let's get started. First we'll be tasting the Triana Blanc. Our Triana Blanc is a 2015 vintage. It's a Northern Rhone white blend. It's 45% Viognier, 45% Marsanne, and 10% Roussanne. It's primarily coming from Monterey, Mère-Soleil Vineyard actually. The Viognier and Marsanne are both from Mère-Soleil Vineyard, and then we grow 2.5 acres of Roussanne on our estate property. So what we do is we're taking that crisp, cool climate fruit of Monterey for the Viognier and Marsanne, and then we're taking our warm climate, nice, rich fruit from the estate, and we're taking those sharp acids and rounding them out and softening it up. So we have this layer upon layer experience with this 2015 Triana Blanc, pouring almost like a library wine, but we know that it still has years yet to come. It's an incredible food pairing wine. I personally go with Thai food, and I like it as spicy as you can make it. And what it does is that Viognier offers this oily texture, so it really coats the whole palate. And so it'll cut through that heat. Really complements Thai spices, but it also pairs really well with Indian food, so think curry. So I hope that you love it. And we'll move on. I'm going to dive right into our big concentrated estate reds. Alright. The Austin Hope Grenache is all estate grown, fairly small production. We only have about 40.5 acres planted here currently. Multiple clones of Grenache are grown on the estate, and that's what this is comprised of. So we do have a little bit of Spanish Garnacha in there. That's why we have this really deep, rich color. Of course, thicker skins from the Garnacha gives us more tannins, more flavor, more color. So we have multiple clones, all in one, but each one of our clones on the estate is aged separately prior to blending. That way Austin's able to really understand and analyze each one of these clones and what it's offering that year before doing his blending and really balancing out the tannic structure and the flavor profile. Once it is blended, it's then put back into new French oak. And then it spends as long as it needs, as long as it takes until it's now approachable. And Austin will determine that by tasting. And this 2016 Grenache, this vintage, spent a total of 31 months in new French oak. So good amount of time in oak. For me, I get a lot of stewed red fruit. This is a lot of a baking spice, clove, cardamom, cinnamon that comes through. So what I do is I actually pair this with a contrasting pairing of dried savory herbs. So think your traditional Thanksgiving meal. What it does is that contrast, it allows for the mid-palate to really pop with cranberry, like fresh cranberry. And it's just a stellar Thanksgiving wine. But honestly, you go roasted chicken with this guy, anything that has that slight contrast will make this wine shine. We do have a pretty unique label for this wine, as well as our Syrah, actually. But this label is an elephant painting by an elephant in Chiang Mai, Thailand. Austin and his wife Celeste, for their honeymoon, they went to go visit an elephant sanctuary in Chiang Mai, and they were guided towards these big easels and canvases that were set up, and they were able to choose the colors and tell the elephant the colors, and then move their hands to guide the elephant's brushstrokes. So this one here was Celeste's elephant painting, and then on our Syrah bottle is Austin's elephant painting. All of our estate wine labels are connected to the Hope family because they do live right here in the middle of our vineyard. So we will be moving on to a very unique wine next. the 2016 Austin Hope Mourvedre. Now, 100% Mourvedre is pretty unique, kind of a rare find. And when you do find them, they are sort of hit or miss. Mourvedre can be very earthy, barnyard-esque, if you will. This one here, Austin applies that same philosophy of combining multiple clones all into one to really balance out the flavor profile. So with this one, we get a lot of chocolate and molasses up front. We do get a little bit of that earthiness that'll come through on the mid palate, but then it finishes with this like rich black fruit. This and lamb is a really great pairing. Mourvedre pairs really well with gamey meat as well. This, I love that it does pair with lamb and gamey meat because the label on this wine is very unique. It's Austin's daughter, Ainsley, when she was little. She went out under one of the oak trees after a rain and she starts messing around with the mud and she starts finger painting on basically a piece of cardboard. And she came up with this, which we refer to as the pig beast. And then Austin put it on his beast of a wine, our Mourvedre. It's a huge fan favorite, this wine, and every year it's just so fun to watch it develop in the bottle. Another one that is 31 months total in New French Oak. All of our 16s have got that 31-month age time in New French Oak. Also, kind of fun fact, all of our 2016 estate wines, they do have a little bit of Roussanne from the estate as well. So, tip of the hat to Côte Rôtie, we've done a 3% co-fermentation with estate-grown Roussanne. So, what that does is it allows for the big, rich, ripe fruit to simmer down a little bit, and then all of those other subtle complexities really come through. This is a really cool technique that Austin's applied to this year for the first time, and I think it's worked out really well. A little bit of information on our estate. We are an extremely high density planted vineyard here. We've got 3x5 spacing. We do a lot of vertical cordons rather than horizontally trained. Some portions of our vineyard are horizontally trained. It's all about what that specific clone on each lot wants and how it likes to grow. And we are primarily dry farmed as well. So we'll water 1 to 2 times a year, only when necessary. We do have sap sensors on our vineyard as well to tell us the precipitation level or moisture level in our vines. So we keep very close watch over each block of our vineyard and its particular needs. What that does is gives us fewer clusters and fewer berries, but very tight clusters and concentrated fruit. Less of that, a tighter skin to juice ratio, basically. So we're getting a lot of bang for our buck each grape. Okay. So let's go here. Another fun fact about the vineyard is this vineyard was actually planted originally in 1986 by Austin and his dad. And I think Austin was about 13 years old, right around there. They planted this vineyard in Cab, Zinfandel, and Merlot. And then Austin actually decided to become a winemaker at a pretty young age, and he is the first generation winemaker in his family, but third generation farmer. So he grew up watching grapes grow, and he grew up, as of 1978, moving here from Bakersfield. His dad was one of the first to plant Cab, and his dad planted Cab on over 50 vineyards, of Cab here in Paso. So what they were trying to do was really figure out what terroir, what soil and microclimate combination would consistently produce the highest quality Cab. And so growing up in this, Austin was really able to hone in on those districts and find the pick of the litter grapes for Cab here in Paso. So he decided to become a winemaker. But when he did, he studied fruit science at Cal Poly. They had no enology or viticulture major at the time. So after graduating, he went over to the Rhone Valley of France, and he studied old world vineyard plantings and winemaking styles there, fell in love with Rhone grapes, came back here, chopped down everything on the estate and ended up grafting onto the 1986 rootstock, and this is in 1994, grafting Grenache, Syrah, Mourvedre, and a little bit of Roussanne. So that's what we have planted here, some really well-established vines. So after, came back and planted that after 1994, he's over there studying with Chuck Wagner of Camus. Now, Chuck taught him how to make stylistically New World wines. He taught him that approach. So our estate wines, that Grenache and Mourvedre that you've tried, and we also have a Syrah, a Mourvedre Syrah, as well as a GSM, those are basically a combination of Old World and New World, because we're stylistically making them in a New World approach, but we are using these Old World techniques of vineyard plantings and clones. So really neat idea of combining, tradition with a little bit more modern fruit styles. Anyway, so let's move on to the Triana Red. So this is our flagship for the Triana label. Triana was released in 1998. Its first vintage was 1996. And Austin, having spent some time over in France, came back and he missed his table wines. And so what he was trying to do was, make a really nice, kind of high-end California table wine. And so he blended quite a few different grapes together, reds, and put out a really nice Triana Red, a wine that you can put a red and a white on the dinner table and it pair with anything. So Austin's still making the Triana Red, but he's refined it over the years. As in, it's been a dominant cab, secondary Syrah for about a decade now. So what we're doing is we're really giving you this rich, ripe Paso cab, that classic Paso cab that you look for, but then it just follows through with this meaty, smoky, spicy Syrah on the finish. I love Syrah. I think Syrah is amazing because it always will show itself in a blend. I don't care how much Syrah is in a blend, I feel like it always comes through right on the finish and it's there. And with this one, it makes it very versatile. And I think that's the key for it being a really, like a high-end table wine, is that it really still stands to where you can put anything on the dinner table with it and it's going to pair well. So, and I've tried it with everything. So definitely a people pleaser. We do have this distributed a little bit out in some restaurants and some stores, and not a huge production, but enough to where we can share it with everybody. And I get this in the tasting room a lot. People with pictures of this wine on their phone saying, I had this last night, please tell me about Triana. So, really fun blend. And we will now taste the top dog. So this is the Austin Hope Cab. Cabernet Sauvignon coming from 5 different districts of Paso, all different soils and microclimates. I just love this concept. So what Austin's done, like I said, he has been honing in on the highest quality cab of Paso since he was a kid. So now he knows where to source from to get what he's looking for in cab for the end product. So we've got, this is our 2018 Austin Hope Cab. We're releasing this right now. It's brand spanking new. This is now our 4th vintage of this wine. Pretty unique barrel program on this, but still taking those 5 different districts and then putting them all into one to represent Paso. And that is the goal of this wine. This wine is meant to represent Paso and its ability to produce a high-end cab. Paso has some of the most diverse terroir in the world. I mean, every 2 to 3 miles you're finding a different microclimate, but even more so, one side of the hill to the other, you can find a completely different microclimate, and different grapes from different regions of the world can grow on the same hill on a different side. And on a 12-acre parcel of land, or I'm sorry, on a single-acre parcel of land, you could find 12 different soil types. So it's just such a neat location. Our diurnal swing is just incredible. Hot, just scorching sun sometimes during the day, but it'll drop down 30 to 50 degrees at night and keep cab happy. So this is coming from the Adelaida district. the Estrella district, El Pomar, Creston, and Geneseo. So we are taking from all 5 of these districts. Austin's harvesting them all separately, of course, and then each lot is aged for 11 months in new and neutral French oak. And then he's tasting through each one of these lots, and he's deciding what percentage of each one to put into his final product. So then he'll do the blending, and once he does the blending, he actually put it into new French oak, new and neutral, for an additional 3 months. So we've got, you know, a pretty good little barrel program going on with this, but we really want to showcase the fruit, not the barrel. So approachable now. I mean, it's a 2018 and it's delicious. I actually just tasted it for the first time, and there is nothing wrong with that. I'm just really happy with this vintage. And a lot of you may be familiar with our, you know, 15, 16, 17 Austin Hope Cab, and Austin's just been doing a consistently really good job with this. Our 2015, just kind of fun facts, was the highest rated wine in Paso ever by the Wine Enthusiast. We received a 97-point score for that wine. The 16, we received a 96. Our 17, we were just given not too long ago the number 10 of the top 100 wines in the world by the Wine Enthusiast. And now we get to taste our 18, and I promise it will not disappoint you. It's a beautiful wine. This one, I've gotten a lot of questions about, how would you compare this to previous vintages? It has that juiciness of the 15. If you're familiar with that 15, it was just soft and supple tannins, but very juicy and fruit forward. It has that. But on the finish, I get that structure of the 16. I do, I get a little bit more of that dry, kind of grippy tannins right on the finish. And it's so young still, so I mean, let's watch this develop and see where it goes. It's definitely an exciting wine to have on the lineup. So I hope that you enjoyed your tasting with us, and hopefully you'll be able to come back in and sit, and I can see your face, and we can, you know, kind of joke back and forth and have a good time here. And thank you for being a part of this with us, and we hope to see you in here soon. Enjoy your wine.